Something happened recently that shook a lot of people. On September 10th, Charlie Kirk was murdered. Now, no matter where you stand politically, that was a tragic and senseless act. But what followed made the story even more disturbing. Instead of uniting in grief, certain public figures decided to mock him, even spread false claims about him. One of those voices was none other than Stephen King. And that's where things really exploded, because the backlash wasn't just from regular people online. Celebrities and actors started speaking up. Two, and perhaps the most surprising voice came from Mel Gibson. Today, I want to break down exactly what happened, what Mel Gibson said about Stephen King, and why this clash isn't just about Hollywood drama. It's about truth, accountability, and how quickly reputations can crumble in today's culture. Let's start with Stephen King. For decades, he's been one of the most influential authors in the world. Millions of books sold, endless film adaptations, and a fan base that spans generations. But after Charlie Kirk's death, King mocked him and lied about his beliefs online. The reaction? Fans didn't just criticize him, they started throwing away his books, refusing to buy tickets for his upcoming movies like The Long Walk or the It prequel Welcome to Derry. For many, King's comments weren't just distasteful, they crossed a line that can't easily be walked back. And this wasn't just the public. Other celebrities noticed. Two, that's where Mel Gibson enters the picture. Mel Gibson decided he couldn't stay silent. In response to King's remarks, he called him out directly. Gibson described what happened to Charlie Kirk as inhuman, something that shattered the country. He said mocking a man after his death was irredeemable, and he singled out Stephen King as someone fueling division instead of healing wounds. Here's Gibson's full statement. I think everyone knows this as much as I do, but I'm completely honored to be a true American patriot. And to see what happened to Charlie Kirk was not only inhuman by this awful person, but it shattered our entire country. To see people like Stephen King lying about Charlie, who was also a true American patriot, who really honored freedom of speech and even tried to understand the minds of different opinions out there, regardless if they were on the right or the left. Mr. King is irredeemable as far as I'm concerned. I have never seen behavior like this in so many years, if ever. After someone's death who happened to be such a large public figure to the American people. It's people like Stephen King who are creating such hate towards so many loving patriots out there. And I hate to see the state that we are in right now, where there are so many out there like King who gave out an insincere apology. You know, look, I get it. I made some mistakes myself in my life. I said some terrible things. It cost me my career for a long while. And I'm still struggling with my career in a way. But I owned it and accepted it and decided to improve myself. And I may never gain the respect of fans that I lost, but I eventually began to respect myself over the years. That quote alone says so much. Gibson wasn't only condemning King, he was admitting his own failures, reminding people that he had lived through public downfall and slow rebuilding. And that honesty made his words hit harder. Now, Gibson didn't just defend Kirk, he went further. He reminded people that Kirk valued free speech, that he listened to opinions across the political spectrum. To Gibson, that made King's falsehoods and mockery even worse. It was a bold move. Hollywood isn't exactly known for defending conservative voices. And yet, here was Gibson, saying plainly what many Americans were feeling. Here's where things get interesting. Gibson didn't speak as if he were perfect. He admitted that in his own life. He had said terrible things, and those mistakes nearly cost him his entire career. He talked about how he had to own up to his past, how he worked to rebuild himself, even though some fans might never forgive him. That honesty gave weight to his criticism of Stephen King. Gibson wasn't just pointing fingers, he was saying, "Look, I've been there. I know what it's like to mess up, but the difference is, I tried to change." And in that contrast, you can see why so many people sided with Gibson here. A lot of Americans feel disconnected from Hollywood. They see actors and writers living in their own world, mocking ordinary people, and pushing agendas. Gibson tapped into that frustration. By defending Kirk and criticizing King, he positioned himself as someone speaking on behalf of hard-working American citizens. That message resonates, whether you agree or disagree politically. The bigger issue here is respect. Do celebrities use their platforms to tear people down, or do they use them to build people up? Gibson didn't just call out King, he gave him advice. He suggested King should get off social media, take a step back, and work on becoming a better person. Not just because of business, but because that's what rebuilding really requires. And this wasn't sugar-coated. Gibson made it clear that, from where he stood, King's apology was insincere. Many fans agreed, calling it phony and business-driven. That perception only made things worse. So where does this all leave King? Honestly, in a tough spot. Fans are boycotting, celebrities are calling him out, and his reputation has taken a serious hit. Sure, his upcoming films might still get decent reviews, but when the audience turns away, it's hard to measure success by critics alone. And here's the reality. Once fans feel betrayed, it's nearly impossible to win them back. Just look at Roseanne Barr or Michael Richards from Seinfeld. One mistake overshadowed entire careers. If King doesn't take genuine steps to repair the damage, he could be heading down that same road. So what can we learn from this? For me, 3 lessons stand out. 1. Words matter, especially when emotions are raw. 2. Apologies only work if they're real. 3. Redemption is possible, but it takes humility and time. Mel Gibson's past proves that rebuilding is painful, but possible. Stephen King now faces that same challenge. Will he admit his fault and truly change? Or will this become the moment that defines the decline of his legacy? Either way, this isn't just about 2 famous men, it's about us, too. What kind of culture do we want to live in? One where cruelty is excused, or one where accountability matters? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you think Stephen King can bounce back from this? Or has he crossed a line he can't return from? Let me know in the comments.